On June 14, 2015, police stepped into a pastel pink bedroom in a small Springfield, Missouri house and found Clauddine Dee Dee Blanchard lying face down in bed, stabbed to death, a scene that looked like a straightforward brutal murder, at least for the first few minutes. Her sick, wheelchair-bound daughter from TV fundraisers and charity events, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, was suddenly missing, and Facebook and local American news exploded with one terrifying theory. A fragile, disabled girl had been snatched in a home invasion gone wrong. But as detectives pulled at the loose threads of this kidnapping, this missing child case warped into one of modern true crime's most shocking betrayal and revenge stories, where victim and villain seem to trade places in every single scene. By the time the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story hit national headlines and inspired the HBO documentary Mommy, Dead and Dearest and Hulu's The Act, one chilling question echoed across the U.S. true crime community. Did a desperate daughter stay a victim or turn into a killer to escape the living prison built by her own mother?
For years before the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, neighbors and charities saw a heartwarming story of a devoted single mom caring for her terminally ill child, a classic inspirational tale that went viral on daytime TV, local news, and social media. Dee Dee told everyone that her daughter, Gypsy Rose, suffered from leukemia, muscular dystrophy, seizures, developmental delays, and a long list of rare diseases that made her a permanent wheelchair user and a full-time patient in a world of hospitals and specialists. In this chapter of the true crime documentary, it looks like an American dream turned tragedy. A struggling mother in Louisiana, then Missouri, fighting the healthcare system while living in a Habitat for Humanity house built just for a sick child with severe disabilities. Gypsy appeared tiny, soft-spoken and childlike, wearing princess costumes and knit hats over a bald head that allegedly came from chemotherapy, while fans, neighbors, and charities across the USA donated money, trips to Disney World, and even a car, believing they were helping a dying girl. Photos from charity events and TV interviews show what looked like a classic feel-good story: an angelic disabled girl and a selfless mom. A narrative audiences usually celebrate, not the dark true crime story it would soon become.
The first crack in this inspirational facade came not with blood or violence, but with paperwork and quiet questions from doctors who sensed that something in the medical history of Gypsy Rose did not add up. When Dee Dee and Gypsy moved from Louisiana to Springfield, Missouri after Hurricane Katrina, they brought a thick binder of medical records, diagnoses, and prescription lists, a stack of documents that created a powerful story of a medically fragile child, but also a shield that few professionals dared to question. Some specialists noticed that test results contradicted Dee Dee's claims, like scans showing no muscle degeneration in a girl supposedly living with muscular dystrophy, or lab work that did not match the long list of conditions on her charts. Yet whenever a doctor raised doubts, Dee Dee would switch physicians, move hospitals, or explain away inconsistencies, using her charm and the emotional power of a single mom narrative that often dominates American healthcare and true crime stories about medical abuse. Meanwhile, Gypsy, who had grown up believing the labels sick, disabled, and forever child, secretly began to discover she could stand, walk short distances, and eat foods her mother had forbidden, planting a dangerous mystery in her own mind. What if the person hurting her was the same person the world praised as her savior?
The night of June 10th, 2015 became the breaking point where years of medical abuse, emotional manipulation, and forced dependency exploded into a single violent act that turned this hidden family horror story into a national true crime headline. By this time, Gypsy Rose had secretly met Nicholas in person once at a movie theater, and together they crafted a plan that combined fantasy, desperation, and revenge. Nicholas would travel from Wisconsin to Springfield, Missouri, and kill Dee Dee, freeing Gypsy from the mother she now believed was her captor. According to court records and police interviews, Gypsy let Nicholas into the house while Dee Dee slept. She hid in the bathroom, covering her ears, while Nicholas stabbed Dee Dee multiple times, a brutal act that left the perfect mother of TV interviews dead in her own bedroom. There is no way to soften what happened. Dee Dee Blanchard was murdered, and in the language of American criminal law and true crime documentaries, Gypsy Rose was a co-conspirator who helped plan and set up the killing, even if she did not physically wield the knife. After the killing, Gypsy and Nicholas took money, mailed the murder weapon to his home, and traveled by bus back to Wisconsin, leaving behind a crime scene that would soon be picked apart by detectives, journalists, podcasters, and millions of viewers of shows like Dateline, 2020, and Mommy Dead and Dearest. The horrific truth that stunned even veteran true crime fans was not just the violence of the murder, but the revelation that the supposedly disabled girl had walked out of the house on her own 2 feet, proving in a single moment that much of her medical story had been a lie invented by her own mother.
When police in Wisconsin arrested Gypsy Rose and Nicholas Godejohn days later, the mugshots and interrogation tapes shattered the simple victim narrative that had defined Gypsy's life in the eyes of neighbors, charities, and TV audiences. News anchors across the USA ran the same shocking phrase, "She can walk," turning the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case into a viral true crime phenomenon where every new detail seemed more disturbing than the last. As detectives pieced together years of medical records, interviews with family members, and testimony from doctors, a clearer picture emerged. Dee Dee had spent years lying about Gypsy's age, forging signatures, doctor shopping, and convincing professionals that her daughter was far sicker than she really was. This twist reframed the entire murder. Instead of a cold-blooded daughter killing a saintly caregiver, many viewers began to see Gypsy as a long-term victim of Munchausen by proxy, trapped in a constructed identity of sickness, isolated from peers, and physically restrained by unnecessary medications and a stolen wheelchair. In court, prosecutors charged Gypsy Rose with second-degree murder, while Nicholas faced first-degree murder. Yet the plea deal, 10 years in prison for Gypsy, triggered intense debate in the American true crime community about justice, abuse, and the limits of revenge.
Today, the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story sits at a haunting crossroads in true crime history, taught in discussions of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, child abuse, and medical ethics, while also living in streaming queues as a binge-worthy dark documentary, a revenge story that refuses to give easy answers. Gypsy has since spoken from prison in interviews, expressing remorse for the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, yet also describing the terror and control she lived under, saying that freedom, even behind bars, sometimes feels lighter than the fake illnesses and forced dependence of her old life. For many in the USA true crime audience, this case forces a painful question. When a child is raised inside a carefully constructed lie, denied autonomy, and medically abused by the one person meant to protect her, how much blame belongs to the survivor who finally fights back in the most extreme way? In a culture drawn to mother-daughter stories, inspirational disability narratives, and shocking true crime documentaries, the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case lingers like a ghost, asking one last, unsettling question. In this house of lies and betrayal, who was truly the monster, and who was just trying to get free?